Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm Chris Bonnard. I'm the CFO of NN. Ticker symbol's NNBR on the NASDAQ. Appreciate your interest in our company, and I'll try to give a little overview and save some time for Q&A at the end. Just obviously today we'll be talking about all kinds of information on the company, some of it forward-looking, so just want you to be aware of some forward-looking statements. So just to get started, NN is about a $500 million company. Our adjusted EBITDA is, on a TTM basis is $46 million. We are a maker of high-precision, complex parts. We've got two segments. One we call Power, one we call Mobile. The Mobile segment is about 60% of our business. The Power is about 40%. In Mobile, we sell into a lot of different markets, primarily the auto market. In Power, we're into all kind of stampings, metal platings, and components that go into the grid and electrical markets. So pretty diverse business. We've been on a transformation path for the last year and a half since Harold Bevis, the CEO, joined. I've worked with Harold before, and so I joined NNBR back in June as CFO. I've been a CFO for quite a long time. This is my first rodeo. And I kind of migrate toward transformation type companies that need help. So Harold, when he joined last year, the CEO, started a program to bring in new business. So we've achieved, since Q1 of 2023, over $113 million of new business wins. That's key to our transformation success as we try to improve on the business, improve the margins, takes costs out overall. We're targeting end markets and passenger vehicles, electrical distribution, so grid management, as I mentioned, and other applications. We've also got new business we're targeting in medical. We had a large medical business years ago. It was sold, and we had some parts in the medical space, and so we're getting back into that business. The customers know us. We've got a sales team now. We've got plants ready. We're already making products. We're about $16 million worth of business already. And so that's a key component of kind of our diversification strategy. So two primary segments, as I mentioned, Power, Mobile. We make high precision parts. So in the mobile space, we make things called worm gears, which go into all steering components of cars. We basically take long metal rods, cut them, polish them, and make very intricate parts, sub-micron level. So they're very, very complex, not necessarily easy to make. So we're very, very proud of that piece. We're a global business with 25 manufacturing facilities in 6 different countries. We do have one JV in China as well. We have a wholly owned in China and a JV. We're a strategic partner with very large customers. We're considered a tier 2 in the automotive space, but we also direct sell into the power business and stamping. Overall, about 3,000 employees, adjusted EBITDA close to 10%, 1,100 customers. So globally, we're in North America, South America, Europe, and APAC. About 71% of our revenue is North American, with the APAC region primarily in China, about 13%. Europe and South America are smaller. All the markets we sell in we produce and sell in those markets, and I'll talk about tariffs in a minute, but we don't ship a lot of small parts around the world. We're selling all those parts in our markets. So for example, in China, all the parts we make are actually made there, sold there domestically. Now, they may go into vehicles that are exported out of China, but we don't ship parts between China and the U.S. One of the things that's been going on in our business is China, the automotive sector, has been growing tremendously. You've probably been reading about it. They're exporting cars all over the world. So our business has been growing. We've won a lot of new business in China. We have main plant operations there, both wholly owned and in a JV. We've won so much business that we're trying to expand our plants. We're bringing in more equipment all the time, and so spending CapEx and bringing in all this new business. We have a pipeline opportunity of over $650 million, and we've secured about $50 million of new business in China alone. So we're very happy with that business. The pipeline's expanding. We're happy with our customer base there. We're in with some of the winning customers over there, names that you've heard of, like BYD. They're making a lot of EVs. There's also a lot of Chinese manufacturers making ICE. The ICE vehicle market in China is actually growing too.
Yes, what actual parts do you make for automotive?
So it's all steering components primarily. Same thing we do in North America. Yeah. Again, stop me anytime. Yeah. So I'll get into our two segments, power first and then mobile. So I talked a little bit about power, big customers, medical products, precision stamp parts, primarily smaller stamp parts. You know, there's a lot of stamping businesses who make larger parts. We make a lot of smaller parts. End markets going to electrical grid, some vehicles, electronics, medical, as I mentioned, is our new product line in there. Well, it's not new to the company, but it's kind of one that we're really focused on. Connector parts, and then electric shielding. In your electric vehicles and some other cars, there's a lot of shielding that goes on because there's a lot of power lines running through the car, so you have to have a lot of shielding components. And we basically take flat metal, and you can see the connector shields there. They're actually bent up in one process, and they're very, very complicated processes. The middle there, the smart meter products, those are part of the electrical grid. And then we make medical surgical instruments. We're not making the kits, we're making components that some of them go into kits, so we're not really FDA compliant, but we make parts that go into those kits. So that's our Power Solutions business. On the mobile side, a lot of large customers globally. Again, we're tier 2, so we're not selling in direct to the like the VWs and so forth, but we're selling to their tier 1s. Your question there was precision worm gears. Those are parts that go into steering to help steer the car, so they're kind of mission critical parts, right? Electric motor shafts as well, so help conduct power throughout the car, and then some inlet fittings as well. So a lot of different small parts. One of the things we're focused on is next gen steering. So there's some demand out there with rear wheel steering. I know that's in some cars already today, but there's some Chinese makers who are looking at different kinds of steering mechanisms and how they're putting those in electric vehicles, so we're working with them on that. So those are our primary products in mobile solutions. So I mentioned we're on a transformation plan since Harold joined last year. We just tried to kind of break this out a little bit with the areas that we're focusing on, like leadership and unprofitable areas and so forth. And so we're trying to gauge here where we're at in this process. So we feel like getting the leadership in place, we're probably 60% of the way there with bringing in the right sales folks and the right management team. The top leadership team has all worked together before, so we kind of know how to operate together. The next key area is fixing unprofitable areas. Primarily, we had a group of 7 plants last year that were losing money. We show you the year-on-year change there. Last year they lost $8.4 million in EBITDA, and now they're only losing $800,000. We're really down to 1.5 plants, I'll say, that we need to fix, and so that's been a key component. We also came out, I think, in the third quarter and said that we want to get our adjusted EBITDA in the mobile business to a minimum of 10%. That's part of our fixing of that, and expand our margins. So part of expanding margins is bringing in a lot of new business, which is probably, I think our overall EBITDA, like I said, is 10%. Most of our new business is north of 20%, so the average will go up as we feather in that new business in 25 and beyond. Typically, our contracts are ranging 3 to 5 years, and so it takes a little while to get that business feathered into the overall revenue picture. Additionally, we're trying to de-lever and refi our debt. So we've got a term loan, we've got an ABL, and then we've got a Series D preferred piece of mezzanine debt out there. We've paid down quite a bit of debt this year, from around 150 to 114 million. So I've got another slide in there to talk to you that shows we're going to be down to just below 3 times levered on the term loan. Adding in the preferred, it's a little bit higher, about 4.5 turns right now, but that's a key focus area for us. And then the final piece is fix sales and grow the company. And so we've been working on that with all the new business, trying to rationalize the lower margin legacy business and keep the new wins going at about $65 million per year. Our Organic Wins program, which was started over a year ago, has been very successful. We've won over $113 million of new business through the third quarter. Most of it with existing customers, so you can see those blue bars. We kind of broke down the different aspects of the wins. Quite a bit in auto, about 74%, about a third, a little over a third in Asia, about a third in power, and then the rest in mobile North America, so a nice even split there. Machine parts are the worm gears and the drive shafts that I talked about, and then stamp parts are all kinds of parts in the electrical grid and so forth, so that's how that breaks out. I mentioned that we're we're focusing heavily in medical. So one thing we talked about in our third quarter and other events is our new win in orthopedic parts and implants. So we do make tools that go into medical, but we also make this femoral stem as well. So this is a part that is ready to go into the kit. And so we've had seen good demand there, and we just show that the demand keeps growing as the population ages and joint replacement continues to grow as well. So we're pleased to be in that business, and we want to expand on that as well. I mentioned, deleveraging and getting the capital structure set up is a key component of our transformation strategy. So this slide just shows you we've been able to deleverage quite a bit over the past year, at least on the term loan. We've got a strategic refinancing underway to get our cap structure refined so we can grow and improve the business. We want a little more flexibility on spend and CapEx so we can get all that new business feathered in, as well as getting a leverage covenant that allows some flexibility and growth and spending a little bit of money on that new business. So that's a key component of our strategy over the next couple of quarters. One thing I talked about in China, we're pretty heavy in China, about $70 million worth of revenue in China today and growing rapidly. Almost a third of our new business is in China, a lot in auto. We're pleased to be in that market. We make good money there, and it's a market that's rapidly growing. It's probably different than what you hear in the press. We're very pleased to be in that market, and it's working well for us, and we continue to win a lot of new business. Again, it's all for the domestic market. They do all kinds of exporting, as you know, around the world. Their share of EVs around the world is going way up in different countries, if you read. And our sales have been growing strong. We expect them to grow strong in the coming years. So we get a lot of questions on what do tariffs mean for us. Well, overall, we say good, but really the impact is pretty negligible because, as I mentioned, most of our products almost all of them are made in the domestic markets that we manufacture in. So, the purpose of these tariffs is to take aim at the expansion of low-cost alternatives as you're shipping around the world. We don't really do a lot of shipment around the world. So basically our JV and our wholly owned subsidiary are all consumed within that market or exported out of those markets. So as you can see, the markets are healthy, they're growing. Our power market, our China markets, and our stamping and plating businesses are all doing well. The automotive business is the one where we're focused on to try to improve, and so that's been a key part of our transformation strategy. So just giving a little guidance, we put this out in the third quarter, revenue in the 465, 480 range. Our TTM EBITDA is 46. We expect it to be around 47 to 51 for the full year. Free cash flow 8 to 12. And new business wins, kind of the midpoint. We target about $65 million a year. And we expect to hit that number in 2024. For 2025, we said our revenues, we expect them to be higher both on a GAAP and a pro forma basis. In the third quarter, we have a slide in our deck where we kind of pro forma'd out the revenue and the changes. So we've rationalized some lower margin business. We actually sold a piece of our business, our Lubbock, Texas plant. So pulling all that out, the business was up year on year, and we expect that to be the case in 2025. We're launching 41 new business programs next year, so we have quite a bit on our plate. And we're going to feather those in as we can in 25. And yeah, it's a good lift. We also are closing one plant to improve the cost structure, and we probably have one more coming after that. We also announced cost reductions in third quarter, fourth quarter, and the first quarter this year to try to improve the adjusted EBITDA primarily in the North American auto business. So our highlights overall, again, under the auspices of our transformation plan, we make very specialized, highly refined, critical products, very, very heavily machined. We've got a new management team in place, just over a year. Our transformation's underway. You can see, maybe we're about halfway through it so far with different approaches in different areas. And then, we're going to keep winning new business and lower our overall cost of capital to try to improve the business overall. I think there was so I want to spend a second on our 5-year plan. We put out a 5-year target of a revenue of around $650 million. A lot of that's going to come through our new business wins. We want to secure over $325 million in new wins over 5 years, so about $65 million a year. We're going to continue to invest our free cash flow wisely as we integrate all our new business, and then try to get our adjusted EBITDA to 12 to 14% over that time period. So that's all I had. Any questions?
You use robots at all in their manufacturing?
We do, yeah. We have some. Yeah.
Is your labor force unionized?
No. No.
How do you view the upcoming trade climate cross-border? Are you bringing over a lot of supply from China now?
We're not, yeah. Everything's, I don't know if you missed that, but everything we make is in our domestic market. So everything we produce in China is made in China and sold in China. Same with North America primarily, and then Europe and Brazil is all domestic market. So.
Do you have any trouble getting money out of China?
Good question. No, we do not. No, we have a regular.
In what context? I mean, how do you get it out?
Yeah,
Because
we have
that's
a
a big issue for a company.
Yeah, we have a regular, board process. I'm on the board of the Chinese entities. We have a regular process to move cash every quarter. Same thing with the JV, and it's been going on like this for years and years. Yeah. So it's kind of a normalized process. Yeah.
You had dips in the market in 2020 and 2023. I can understand 2020, but what was the reason for 2023?
I don't know. I wasn't here. No. So yeah, there were some. So the auto market is probably, the auto market's semi-cyclical, I'll say, right? I've been in other markets that are way more cyclical, but there was some cyclicality in the market there due to the COVID kind of whipsaw, and that was the primary driver of the cyclicality that you saw, or the downturn in revenue in 23. And right now, auto inventories are up, right? So there's some concern around, consumer auto, at least in North America, right? Other parts of the world, that's not the case. There is some concern in North America that auto inventories are up, and there could be a little bit of a slowdown. But again, if you look historical at the auto market, it goes up and down a few percent, and so everybody thinks it's cyclical in that respect, right? But it's not huge dips like 15 or 20%. Yeah. You're last. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to ask from a capital markets perspective, you mentioned kind of restructuring some of the existing. How are you viewing that now from a pricing perspective? Do you have a couple of firms that are working for you on that?
Welcome any help I can get. Yes, we do. We have a firm that we're working with that's helping us. I've done a lot of debt deals in my career, but yeah, we've got a couple folks working with us right now, and we're trying to get the term loan and the ABL refinanced. And then, the pref is also out there. We're trying to get that restructured as well, all part of the process. Yep. Joe.
All right. So on the new business wins, you can walk us through what's the timing from the time you announce a new business win till it actually flows through revenue, and how are the margins so much greater on the new business wins than the old ones?
Yep.
And the third part of it is any opportunity for increased share for each vehicle, that you're putting more and more content into each new vehicle?
I'll try to remember all those questions. So the timing, and it varies. So on the automotive side, it's probably like a 18 to 24 month time frame. That's pretty typical, right? On the stamping side, it can be, a couple quarters, 6 to 8 months, right? We've got available capacity in stamping, so we can get those products moved in faster. On the margin side, we're very happy with stamping margins, plating margins, and the margins we get in China, because we're on what I would consider to be just more precision parts, right? And so we get a little bit better margin on those, not like, biotech margins, but a little bit better margins. And that feathers into where we spend our capital as well. So the timing of that, the stamping capital is very, very limited, maybe 1% of revenue that we get. The automotive is quite a bit more, and the expectation there is we spend a little more capital up front on that piece, but stamping is much faster. So the margins overall I think in the third or second quarter, we said overall the average is around 23% versus our current adjusted EBITDA of 10%. And that's because we're getting the wins in China, we're getting the wins selectively in the auto space, and then also in stamping. So the overall kind of margin levels kind of lift up, right? Yep. Any other questions?
5 minutes?
Okay, we have 5 minutes. Any other burning questions?
I'll hit you up with another one.
Yeah.
So the medical business, maybe you could just talk a little bit more, kind of what your goals are there.
Is it all going to be organic growth? Do you see the potential for M&A? And I don't know if you would know, because again, it's before your time, how big was the medical business in the past before they ended up selling the business?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact. It was big. I think they sold it for quite a bit of money, right? Because when they got into some financial difficulties. So today our medical business is small. We've got several plants already making products, the tools as well as the femur that I showed you. I think with the sales team that we have, the investments we've made, our expectation and our internal budgeting goals are to grow that business much faster. We're still kind of working on 25, and we might give a little guidance on that, later into 25. I think at this stage, on the M&A comment, we're always looking at M&A, right? There seems to be a lot of tooling and manufacturing folks out there who are ready to sell. It's really about price, and is there some beyond just a strategic buy? Can we get some synergy plays in there too? Do they have plants near ours? Can we close one? Can we accelerate our commercial growth faster because maybe they have a sales team that's, can work a little bit better than ours or work faster than ours, right? So those are the things we look for in M&A. But we're very targeted in our approach, and I think we see books, we see 2 or 3 books a week, surprisingly. So.
With more than 6,000 small and micro-cap companies listed, if you're looking for the next Apple, then ChannelCheck truly is your trade. It's an investor community where you can access independent Wall Street research, advanced market data, balanced news, corporate videos, and podcasts. You can even register to attend in-person Meet the Management Series lunches, and to be part of the preeminent annual Small and Microcap Investor Conference, NobleCon. And here's the best news. Since ChannelCheck is sponsored by the featured companies, premium membership requires no investment. It's absolutely free. So check it out. Log in today. Find out why ChannelCheck is North America's leading source of research on the companies that just may change the world.